Hello, math class. So this is the video that goes over the end of year benchmark test. So hopefully you've had a chance to do all these questions. If not, you could see it on the video, pause it, do it, try it, and see how you do. But the reason why I'm giving you this is because these are some of the skills that you're going to need to know, and these are foundational skills that as you go into middle school. So if you have some of these that you're not very confident on, you could try iExcel, MobiMax, Khan Academy. There's all sorts of opportunities over the summer to do a little research, do a little building of skill. But all right, let's get going. There's 55 problems. I don't do all of them. I think I've missed a couple of them, but we'll start with number 1. And it says, which rule best describes the relationship in this function table? So I have going in and coming out. So I'm going from 1 in to 3 out, to 2 in to 6 out. And I'm wondering what's happening. The function. It could be plus 2, but 2 plus 2 is not 6. So it's not that. Times 3, times 3, times 3, times 3, times 3. So it is multiplied by 3. So the function is input times 3. You will need to know function tables. All right, the next one. Marcus needs to earn a grade higher than 88. Higher than 88 on his final quiz in order to have an A average. Which inequality best represents this situation? If it had an equal sign, it'd be an equality, but this is an inequality. So, can he get an 88? No, it says higher than an 88. So this little line under here means it could be equal to 88. It says the grade is greater than or equal to 88. But can it be equal to 88? No, so that wouldn't work. G says greater, the grade is greater than 88. And that's what we need. So if it's 89, 89 is greater than 88. That's what he needs, more than an 88. Can't be less than an 88 and can't be less than or equal to 88. You will need to know inequalities. Okay, sometimes it'll say less than or equal to. Sometimes it'll just say less than. Sometimes it'll be greater than. And sometimes it'll be greater than or equal to. And then you're fine. Okay. Number 3, a short answer. Define a variable and write an expression to represent the following phrase. And this has to do with some algebraic expressions. A number increased by 5. So we'll do A equals a number. That's my variable. And then I take my variable and I increase it by 5. A plus 5. That is an algebraic expression. Okay. Number 4. What is the least common multiple of 8 and 14? So, least common multiple. Multiple means like, if I have 8, multiples of 8 would be 8, 16, 24, 32. It's increasing by 8. Okay, and 14 multiples would be 14, 28, 42, 56. Okay, so those are like multiples. Now we have to find the common one, the least common. We know that we have the numbers 8 and 14. So it can't be a 4 or a 2, because it has to be higher than this. If you're going a multiple of, it's bigger. So I look at 28. Does 8 go into 28? No. Now 14 does, but it's not a common multiple of both. So it has to be 56. Now I'm going to check that. I see right here that 14, 28, 50, 42, 56. That one does work. Now 8 equals 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56. So that is also a multiple. So that's the first common multiple of 8 and 14. Commonly referred to LCM. You will need to understand and know how to find the least common multiple. All right, number 5. What is the volume of the rectangular prism shown below? Volume. There is formulas for these, but what I like to do, I'm going to make this bigger. The volume. Volume is how much will go in it. So I got to fill the inside. So what I do is I find the area of the base, which is a 12 by 3. So 12 times 3 equals 36. So this bottom is 36, and then I have to go with the height. How many layers is it? And that'll give me the area, or that'll give me the volume, I'm sorry. So now I do 36 times 5. Now you can do that on your calculator, but it'd also be good to remember to make sure you know how to do multiplication like this. 5 times 6 is 30. 5 times 3 is 15, 16, 17, 18. 180, you need the unit. And because it's volume, it's cubes. How many cubes will go in that volume? So 3 is cubed. So it is H. Okay. So the formula of volume equals big B times H. Now that big B is the area of the base. So you could say volume equals length times width times height. So you have your length times your width times your height. Length, width, height. Okay? You will need to know how to find the volume of different shapes. Number 6. Oh, the list below shows the number of books read by students in Abram's class over the summer. What is the mode? Okay, so I'm going to underline what we're looking for. What is the mode of the data? So whenever I do like median, mean, mode, range, I always put them in order. Okay. So I'm going to start with the smallest number, and I think it is a 3. We have 1 3, 2 3s, just 2 3s. So we go 3, 3. Then 4. I have 1 4, 2, 3, 4. 4 4s. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's go to 5s. 1, 2, just 2 5s. Now any 6s? 1, just 1 6. 7. 1, 2. 8s. 1 8, 2 8s. Any 9s? No 9s. 1 10. No 11 and 1 12. Now I'm going to make sure I got I have all the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 14, 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. Now, the mode equals most. Which one is most? There's 2 3s, there's 4 4s, 2 5s, a 6, a couple 7s, a couple 8s. So it's obvious that there's the most 4. So the mode in this group is 4 books. So you will need to know median, mode, range, mean. Okay? I skipped number 7. So let's go on to number 8. Okay. A little hard to read, sorry about that. There are 65 people watching a movie at a theater. 40% of the customers purchased refreshments for the movie. How many customers purchased refreshments? So 40% of the customers. So you take 65, and when it's of, means you're multiplying it by 40%. Now, we can't just times something by 40%. Let's make that into a decimal. And if you remember, 40%, you got to move it over 2. And so that for a decimal, you get 0.4. Okay, so 65 times 0.4. This is exactly the same as that. All we've done is converted the 40% to be a decimal. Now, we can do it. And you should also remember how to do this. You could do it on your calculator, but 65 times 0.4. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 6 is 24. 25, 26. And then I have to move this decimal out once, and then I have to move it back in. So 26 of the customers got snacks. It's this one. Now that does make sense too, because if I have 65 total, 40%, 40 is close to half, and half of 65 would be around 32 or so. So a little bit less than 32, 26, it makes sense. You always want to ask yourself, does my answer make sense? And this time it does. So lots of skills here. You need to know how to multiply like this with a decimal. You need to know how to convert a percent to a decimal. And you need to know how to multiply it and get your answer. Okay? All right, number 9 is a surface area question. A little bit more tricky, but we can do this. So you need to know, one skill that's important is knowing how to find the surface area. So I'm going to start with this side here. And when I configure the area of this side, I know I'll also, when I times it by 2, I'll have that side. So this is at 8 by 6. 8 by 6. So 8 times 6 equals 48. And then 48 plus 48. I could have done it times 2. Would have been the same thing, but that is 96. So those two blue squares are 96 inches squared. Now let's do the bottom here. Oops, I want to go red. So I'll go this. And then when I find that one out, I know I have this top one too after I times it by 2. So it's a 10 by 6. 10 times 6 equals 60. And then 60 for the bottom plus 60 for the top is 120 inches squared. Okay, so now I have those two. Now there's one more, or actually 2 more. It's this front side. and I'll times by 2 to get the back side. Okay? And this is a 10 by, well, this is 8, so this has to be 8. 10 by 8. 10 by 8 equals 80. And then 80 plus 80 for those two sides equals 160 inches squared. So I should have 6 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All 6 sides are accounted for. Now I just add these up. And the way I do that is I go 96 plus 120 plus 160. 6. Let's see, 6 plus 2 is 8, plus 9 is 17. And 1, 2, 3, 376. And it is inches. And because it's the area, it's squared. Square area. So it looks like G, 376 square inches would be enough paper to cover that box. Okay? Being able to find the surface area is important. You'll need to know that. Number 10. The ratio table shows the number of miles Karen can drive for 1, 2, 3, and 4 gallons of gasoline. Based on the table, how far would she be able to drive on 8 gallons? So, what it's asking for is to do like one more box here. And if this is 8 gallons, what is that going to be? So we got to figure out going from here to here, here to here, here to here, here to here. Should be the same every time. So 1 to 30 could be plus 30, but then 2 plus 30 is 32, which is not 60. Okay, so now it must be multiplying. 1 times 30 gets me 30. 2 times 30 gets me 60. 3 times 30 gets me 90. 4 times 30 gets me 120. So it has to be gallons times 30, and that will get you your distance or your output. So, and 8 times 30 is 240 miles. And we have D here. Okay. So once you figure out what the function is, what's happening in the table, then you can pick any number here and put it in the function and get your output. Okay. All right, Emily made 14 out of 19 shots during the basketball practice. About what percentage of her shots did she make? Explain your reasoning. Okay, so this is a ratio, and it's 14 out of 19. Now you could write that as 14 colon 19, or you could write it like I did here, 14 out, 14 out of 19. So 14 colon 19. Or you could write it like this, 14, 19. Now remember that this line here means division. So I want to take this, I'm going to set up a little chart. I want you to remember how to do this. This is a really good chart. If I want a percentage, a decimal, or a fraction. And remember, I do it alphabetically. So decimal goes here, fraction, and then percent. So this is asking what percent. So 14 out of 19 is a fraction. 14 out of 19. Okay. I'm going to make that into a decimal by doing 14 divided by 19. And when I do that, it gets me 14 divided by 19 equals 0.7368421. I'm going to round that up to here. So the 6 tells me that should go to a 4. So decimal is about 7.74. Now the way I go from here to a decimal is I'm going over 1, 2. I got to take the decimal point. 1, 2, 74, and then add my percent. So 74% of her shots. And you know it's 70, you know it's, well, if say like 14 out of 20 shots, 50% out of 20 shots would be 10. So she made more than 10, so more than 50%. If she made all of the shots, it'd be 100%. She didn't do that. So it's somewhere between 50 and 100%. So 74% makes pretty good sense. Okay? Number 12, a muffin recipe calls for a ratio of 5 cups of flour to 2 cups of sugar. Okay, 5 cups flour. And I'm setting this up as a ratio to 3 cups of sugar. Okay, that's my ratio. For every 5 cups, I need 3 cups of sugar. For each cup of sugar that is used, how many cups of flour are needed? So I'm going to set this up. It's asking me if I only need 1 cup of flour. So how do I go from here to here? Well, I divide this by 5. So then I'm going to do the same thing here. 3 divided by 5. And 3 divided by 5 is that. 3/5 sugar. So if I do 5 cups of flour, I need 3 cups of sugar. If I do 1 cup of flour, I need 3/5 cup of sugar. It looks like that's not. Oh, I did it wrong. See, in this multiple choice, I could see that my answer wasn't there, and I was kind of stumped. For each cup of sugar, not cup of flour. So let's set that up again. I'm going to go like this, change my color. You can see how I did it wrong. And thankfully, with the multiple choice, it made me think, this isn't right. I don't have my answer there. So 5 cups of flour and 3 cups of sugar. Okay, so that was right. But now I said 1 cup of flour when it's saying for every cup of sugar. So 1 cup of sugar. So how do I get from here to here? I divide that by 3, and then I have to do the same thing here. Divide that by 3. And it becomes 5 divided by 3 cups of flour. So for every 3 cups of sugar, I do 5 cups of flour. For every 1 cup of sugar, I do 5/3 cup of flour, which is F. Okay, you have to read very carefully. Number 13 is a little bit tricky to do because you're not getting some exact numbers here, but it's giving you a graph here, and we have monthly. So in the first month, how many members do we have? I would say, I don't know if it's right on the 4, I would say 3. So 1 month would be 3 members, 2 months, maybe like 6 members, 3 months, maybe 7, 4 months, maybe 9 or 10, 5 months, maybe 11. So let me see what's happening here. It's not going to be exact. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5 months. We need to predict what about the 6th. We know it'll be increasing. We know it's increasing. So 1 I said is 3. 2 I said is 5. 3 I would say is 7. 4, maybe 9. 5, maybe 11. So it looks like it's going up 2 members each month. So if it's at 11, it's probably going to be at about 13. So my guess would be 13 would be about your number in the 6 months. So with this one, when you got to kind of just do a little bit of guessing about where it is. And then you get to see what's the pattern, what's happening each month. We know it was increasing, so it had to be at least more than this month, so more than 11. And I'd say it's about 13. It's probably gonna, oops. Number 14 is about mean, finding the mean. And when we see the word mean, we need to think average. And the way you find the average is you add them all up and divide by the number you have. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's going to be divided by 12. So let's just add them up, shall we? And I'm going to do this on my calculator. 12 plus 7. Okay, those two. And then 9 plus 10. Plus 9 plus 10. Okay, then I have, I think that's 16. 16 plus 6. 16 plus 6. So now I'm at 60 for those so far. And I gotta add 8 plus 8 and plus 15. So I've included that. Now I'm at 83. Now I'm gonna add 12 plus 11 plus another 12. Finally plus 14. And that gets me a total of 132. And then I do 132 divided by 12. And that gets me an average of 11 points. So you'll need to know how to do the mean. And the mean is just basically the average. You add every single number up and you divide by the number you have. And that gets you your average. All right, number 15 talks about absolute value. And the way you remember absolute value, it's, oh, I didn't want a highlighter. There you go. So you have 0 here, and then you might have 1, 2, 3, and then you have negatives going this way. The absolute value is how much is that number away from 0. Okay? So negative 3, if I go negative 3 here, it's 1, 2, 3. The absolute value of that is 3. 4, the absolute value is 4. 8, the absolute value is 8. And negative 12, the absolute value is 12. So it says, which of the following integers has the least absolute value? So the smallest. So it's going to be F, because that absolute value is only 3. Absolute values are always positive numbers. It's because it's a value. How much is something? Okay, make sure you understand and know absolute value. Number 16. Let's see. Albert purchased 2.4 pounds of mixed nuts for $4.79 per pound. How much did he spend in all? So he's got so many pounds, and it's so much per pound. So it's a multiplication. So it's 2.4 times 4.79. You could do that on paper with a pencil, or you could go to your calculator and do 2.4 times 4.79. And it looks like, oops, I made a mistake. 2.4 plus 4.79. 4.79 equals $7. That's not right. I know it's not right because like 4 times 2 is 8. Let me try again. I think my fingers are not working well. 2.4 times 4.79 equals. That seems a little better. Okay. Now, the way I know when I got 7, I knew I was wrong right away. Because if I average this to be about 2, and this is about 5, 2 times 5 is 10. So I knew I needed to be around 10. So this 11.496 makes so much more sense. Now I have 1243. Oh, I have to round it up to the nearest because I can't have 6 thousandths of a penny. So that rounds it up to 11.50. $11.50. Okay? So you will need to be able to multiply to find out how much something is. Number 17. Let's see. Which of the following coordinate pairs correspond with A? So we're looking right here. Now, we know that you go this way first. You gotta go, you start at your origin and you go all the way here. That's -2, -3, -4. So the first number must be -3, which is this one right here. And then it's going up, so it's a +2, and the 2 is the second number. So -3, comma 2, that equals A, which is that one right there. This is always positive, positive. This is always negative and then positive. This one is always negative and then negative. This one is always positive, then negative. Okay. Number 18. Which of the following symbols, when placed in the blank, makes the number sentence true? Okay, so we have 20 and 75. And then we have 0.26 repeating. So this number here is actually 0.26262626262626, and on and on and on and on. So I'm going to make this into a decimal so I can compare decimals to decimals. So I do 20 divided by 75 equals 0.26666. That 6 goes on forever, so it's 0.26. Now, let's compare these. This one over here is 0.266666. And this one is 0.262626. And they go on forever, but now, I'm looking to know what this is compared to this. I know it's these two things right here are not equal. So I'm going to get rid of this equal. And this is a plus symbol. That doesn't work. It's either less than or greater than. And so this one is right here. What is that? 2, 2, that's the same. 6, 6, same. 6 and 2. This number is greater than that number, so this has to be greater. So it goes like that. When you compare them, but you got to get something similar. So I like to compare percents to percents, fractions to fractions, decimals to decimals. My favorite is decimals to decimals because you can kind of stack them like this and then see which one is bigger. Number 19. What is the volume of the triangular prism? Okay. Volume of the triangular prism. So, what I'm going to do is I have a triangle right here. That's my base. And then I got to figure out how many cubes go in it based on this height. So I got to find the area of this triangle. Now remember, area of a triangle is your base times your height divided by 2. So I have 8 times 6 divided by 2. And that is 48 divided by 2, and that is 24. So my area of the triangle is 24, and then it goes 14 high. So then I times that by 14. 24 times 14 equals 336 cubes. It's meters, and cube would be 3. And so it is F for number 19. Okay, we're on number 20. We're about halfway there. If you need to pause the video, take a break, go for it, and then come back. Okay, let's do number 20. The line plot shows the quiz scores of several students. What is the range? Okay, the range. And the way you find the range is you take the biggest minus the smallest. And the biggest looks like 10, so we did have a 10, and we also had a 5, minus 5. And 10 minus 5 is 5. So the range of this set of data would be 5 points. All right, this next question is awesome. We have this, sorry about that, here we go. We have this big long equation, and it's asking what should we do first according to the order of operations. Now remember that this. So parentheses is first, exponents is second, then all of your multiplication, and then all of your addition, subtraction. So parentheses is first. And I look at this and I see I have 9 minus 4 in parentheses. So is it first to add 6 plus 2? Nope. Multiply 2 times 9? Nope. Subtract 4 from 9? That looks like what's happening here. Multiply 3 times 5? Nope. So your first thing in the order of operations in this problem would be to subtract 4 from 9. That's an important skill. Order of operations. I mean, it's critical because that happens in everything. Whenever you get any algebraic problem, any problem, you need to follow this important law. Order of operations. PEMDAS. Big long. Number 22 has a property question to it. So we have this 6 times 3 equals 3 times 6. Now we know that works because 6 times 3 is 18 and 3 times 6 is 18 and they do equal. But there's a property happening that means you can switch those around and it'll still be the same. Now, is it multiplication of inverse property? No, inverse means changing. Inverse, we didn't really talk too much about that, so don't even worry about it. Multiplication identity property, we did talk about that. That's anything times 1 is going to be the other number. That's not it. Associative property of multiplication? No, because we're not associating different things with different things. Commutative property of multiplication? It is that one. It says that you can do first, you can flip them around. You also have the commutative property of addition, which means I could do 3 plus 6 is the same as 6 plus 3. So commutative property tells me I can flip them around and it will work. Oops. All right, number 23. The algebra mat below models the equation x minus 2 equals 4. What is the solution to this equation? So we got to find out whatever x is, and then I take 2 away, and it should give me 4. So x minus 2 equals 4. I want to get x all by itself. I got to get rid of this minus 2, so I do the opposite to both sides. And when I do that, x, those get rid of each other, equals 4 plus 2 is 6. So the answer is 6. So let's put that in just to check it. 6 minus 2 equals 4, and that is correct, and we are good to go. Okay, 24 looks like a little graphing one. Let's go to A. Get big. There we go. Get my pencil here. A looks like it's 2, negative 1. So I go positive 2, and then negative 1, which would be right here. And then B is 6, negative 1. So B, I go all the way to 6, and then down 1. And then C is positive 6 and positive 4. So I go to positive 6, and I go all the way up to positive 4. And then it says to classify this figure, the way you classify it is by telling me what is it. And it is a triangle. Okay, which number line shows the solution to the inequality x plus 3 is less than or equal to? Because it is equal to, it has to be a closed-in bubble, which they all are. So, okay, so that's good. Now, I'm going to pick a number. Like, I'm going to start with A. I'm going to pick the number 2. Put 2 in here. 2 plus 3 is 5. Is 5 less than 1? Of course not. Okay. Now, I'm going to pick 2 here. 2 plus 3 is 5. Is 5 less than 1? Nope. This one I'm going to pick negative 2. Negative 2 plus 3 gets me to, let's see, negative 1. Is that less than 1? Yeah, that one works. But let me check this other one. 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. Is that less than? Nope. It has to be this one. Now, the way I could have figured this out also is x plus 3 greater than or equal to 1. I want to find what x is. I got to subtract 3 from each side. That gets me x equals, those cancel. Oh, not x equals. X is less than or equal to. Those cancel each other out. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. So it has to be negative 2 or less. So negative 2 or less. And C is correct. Okay, 27, we're back to a little algebra. 2x equals 16. I want to get this x all by itself. What's happening to x? It's being times by 2. So we have to divide it by 2 and divide each side by 2. Those cancel each other out. It gets me x equals 16 divided by 2 is 8. And I put 8 in here. 2 times 8, that does equal 16. So my answer is 8. You need to understand with algebra, when you're running to find the variable, you do the opposite to each side until you're down to just the variable. Number 30 is a ratio question. We have a table, types of cars, and it's saying what is the simplest, or what is the ratio of students, not students, sedans to minivans. So sedans comes first. Sedan is 28 to, and minivans is 12. Now we want to get that in the simplest form, so it's 28 to 12. Now, can I reduce that? They're both even, so I can divide it by 2. That gets me 14 to 7. Or no, not 14 to 7. 14 to 6. And I can divide those in half again, and that gets me 7, 3. So 7, 2, 3. So for every 7 sedans, there are 3 minivans, which is A. Okay? You need to be able to set up a ratio and then be able to simplify it. Number 32 is a area question of a triangle. Area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. Okay, so the base times the height. This 17, we don't really need that number, but we do need the 15 times the 8. So area equals 15 times the 8 divided by 2. And 15 times 8 is 120. And we divide that by 2, and it gets us 60 square units. You need to know how to be able to find the area of a triangle. All right, number 35. Which of the following ratios is equivalent to 5/8? So I'm going to put them all into fractions. 5/8. And then we have 16, 10. Then we have 5, 13. 25, 44, and then 15, 24. Okay, 5 times that, no, so it's not that one. 5 times 1 is 5, 8 times 1 is not 13, not that. 5 times 5 is 25, 8 times 5 is 40, so it's not that. 5 times 3, and 8 times 3, that's 24. So it has to be 15, 24, which is this one right here. That's the only one that's equivalent to 5/8. All right, here's a question about a bar graph. And the question is, how many of Kylie's classmates have visited more than 15 states? So more than. It can't be 15. If they've just done 15, that's not good. It has to be more than 15. And let's see. So 12 to 15, that would not be good. But 16 or more. So it's these that I want to use. Now I got to figure out how many students. This one looks like it's 7. This one looks like it's 3. And this one looks like it's 2. So 7 plus 3 is 10, plus 2 more is 12. And that's how we use that bar graph to find out information that we need. 12 students have gone to more than 15 states. Number 38, which of the following represents the decimal? 0.32 written as a fraction in simplest form. And the way we do that is we go 0.32 and I say it, and it'll help me to know what fraction it is. To say this in words, it's 32 hundredths. 32 hundredths. Now I have to simplify it. They're both even, so I divide by 2. 1650. Both of those are even, so I divide those into 825. Now I can't simplify that anymore, so that 825 is the same as 0.32. This short answer is one about ratios, you use a ratio to find out the per unit rate. So we have 1.2 pound package of ground beef for $4.55. Okay, and then we also have 1.6 pound for, that's $4.55. 1.6 for $6.30. and we want to see which one is cheapest. So let's go to pound. I want to know how much per pound for each of those. So I go from here to here is 1.2 divided by 1.2, and I do that to the same to the bottom. 4.55 divided by 1.2 equals 3.79. So per pound it's $3.79. This one, I got to divide this by 1.6, divide this by 1.6, 630 divided by 1.6 gets me $3.94. So per pound, this one is more costly. This one is a better deal, so I'd rather get the 1.2 pound of package of ground beef for $4.55. It's a better deal. Pamela is leading server on her volleyball team. On average, she serves an ace 44% of the time. 44%. Cool, that's almost half of the time. If she attempts 25 serves in her next game, how many should be aces? So 44 is almost 50. So 25, half of those would be about 12. So I'm looking at an answer around 12. But let's get let's do it like we should. 44% times 25. Make this into a decimal, 0.44 times 25. Let's see what that gets. 25 times 0.44 equals 11. So 11 of her serves are going to be aces. Number 41 is wondering what percent is represented by the model. So this whole thing is filled in. So that is 100% filled in. This one is not 100% filled in. It is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75. 75 of those squares are filled in. So if I do 100 plus 75, I have 175% filled in, which is F. Number 42, which of the following best describes the center of data set if there are outliers in the data but no big gaps in the middle of the data? If there's outliers but no big gaps, I would say the median, because then you take all the numbers and there's outliers in the data. It's not going to affect it too much because you have so many in the middle. The middle will show you where it is. Okay? Let's complete this table. And it's a function table. So here is my little formula. This is my x. So I put x in here. 3 times 1 is 3 minus 1 is 2. Now I put 2 in there. 2 times 3 is 6 minus 1 is 5. Put 3 in there. 3 times 3 is 9 minus 1 is 8. 4. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 minus 1 is 11. 5 times 3 is 15. Minus 1 is 14. Looks like it's going up by 3 every time. So that fills in the function table. Surface area of a square pyramid with the base side lengths of 10 inch and a slant height of 14 inches. All right, so let's do the bottom one here. Let's do this. It is a square. So that, it's a 10 by 10. So the base is 100 inches squared. Then we just have to find one of these triangles. And we can times it by 4. And we'll have that. So this is 10 by 14. 10 by 14 divided by 2. And that is 140 divided by 2, and that's 70. And there are 4 of those sides. I could do 70 plus 70 plus 70 plus 70, or I could do 70 times 4, which equals 280. So I put my 280 with my 100, and I get 380 inches squared because it's the area, and that's h. Number 46, which of the following inequalities is graphed on the number line? This is a closed dot, so I know that it's going to be 4. It could be equal to 4, and it's less than. So that's not an equal, and that's not an equal. So I'm just going to pick a number like 0, put 0 in here. Is 0 greater than 4? Nope. Is 0 less than 4? Yep. So my inequality is x is less than or equal to 4. All right, here we are finding the area of a trapezoid. And the formula is area equals, you have your two bases, base 1 plus base 2. You add those, you divide that by 2, and then you times the whole thing by your height. So we have this and this. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then divided by 2, and then times the height. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Times 6. So I do my parentheses first. 18 divided by 2 times 6. Then I can do my division, which 18 divided by 2 is 9 times 6. And that equals 54 square units. Mr. Addison is building a sandbox shaped with like a rectangular prism. The sandbox is 8 feet long. 8 feet long. 6 feet wide. And a depth of 1.5. Okay, so we got to take this 8 times 6, and then I times that by my depth, which is 1.5, and that's 48 times 1.5. 48 times 1.5 is 72 feet cubed, which would be G. Sometimes drawing a picture can be very helpful. All right, the Pirates football team has played 75% of its games so far this season. If the team has played 9 games, how many games are there in the season? So I don't know how many games there are, so I'll say that's X. X times 75% equals 9. They've played 9. So now I just got to find out what this X is. I'm going to make this into a decimal. So it's going to be X times 0.75 equals 9. Then X, I'm going to divide this by 0.75 and divide this by 0.75. That gets me X equals 9 divided by 0.75 equals 12 games. So they have a total of 12 games in the season. They've played 75% of them, and that is the 9 games. So 12 is your answer. You'll need to know how to be able to figure that out, and I used algebra to figure that out. All right, which of the following expression is equivalent to 3, and then parentheses, 4x plus 1? Now, remember distributive property? We can times this to this. 3 times 4x is 12x plus 3 times 1 is 3. Now, we can't put these together because they're not like terms. So that's the other expression that we could use. And it is 12x plus 3. All right, we need to find a function here. What is happening to go from x from here to here? What's happening every time? We go to 2 to 7, 3 to 8, 6 to 11, 9 to 14, and 12 to 17. Looks like the same thing is happening. So it looks like it's adding 5 each time. So it's x plus 5. That's a nice one that makes sense. You see what goes into the input and what comes out of the output. and what is happening every single time. So 2 plus 5 is 7, 3 plus 5 is 8, 6 plus 5 is 11, 9 plus 5 is 14, and 12 plus 5 is 17. Happens every time. A pancake recipe calls for a 1/3 cup mix for 4 pancakes. If Beth needs to make 60 pancakes, how many cups of pancake mix will she need? So I'm going to set this up as a ratio. 1/3 cup gets me 4 pancakes, and I want 60 pancakes. So what is going from here to here? Times 15. So I just have to do 1/3 times 15. So 1/3 times 15, go like that. It is 15 over 3. And when I do that, it gets me 5 cups, which is A. All right. Well, I didn't do all of the problems. I did the main ones, the most important foundational skills from 6th grade that you need to know. I would definitely be practicing adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing fractions. I would definitely practice some algebra, ratios. Keep working on order of operations. That's very important. Do some geometry, and you should be all set and ready to go. So, all right, take care.